Good morning. Last night after I put the master cylinder on, then I went to bed and I was laying there thinking, okay, so how do you bleed brakes on a car? Don't you you have someone pumping the pedal, okay, hold it, and then you release the bleeder valve and let air and fluid sputter out, then you tighten it, and then they pump it a few more times and hold it. So I thought, what I'm doing here, just cranking it up with the bleeder valve open, isn't doing anything but sucking air in, if that. So I came back out here and released the bleeder valve, was pumped it a couple times, and held the brake in, and then I released cracked the bleeder valve and then tightened it back up. Did it a couple more times, held it in, released the bleeder valve, and then tightened it back up. And I did that for 15 minutes and nothing happened. So since I wasn't able to bleed it, I decided that I should just go ahead and remove the whole caliper assembly itself with the brake hose and everything, take it over to the table and work on it there, get it all cleaned up, check the brakes pads, make sure that they're still good, replace them if I need to, and I need to go down to the store today and pick up that O-ring for my carburetor. So if there's any parts I need for the brakes, I'll get them then. So let me get to work. Nope, that ain't happening. I tried spraying some carb cleaner, brake cleaner up in here. I got the air compressor and I put the banjo bolt. There's a little washer on each side. So I put it in here, put the washer on. So the hole is in there. I wrapped it with Teflon tape and then used the air compressor to blow air in here to see if it would come out the other side. And nothing came out. The other side is open. It's not hooked to the master cylinder. Put these things back in this cup so I don't lose them. And I put my face up to the other side so I could see if I could feel air coming out. I didn't feel anything. And I put my mouth on it and blew, and I couldn't blow through it. There's some kind of clog in there. So I'll try. I don't know if soaking it's gonna actually get, I mean, it'll clean the outside of the hose, but I don't know how to get anything in this tiny hole to bring it through there to clean it out. I might just have to replace this line, so I'll check at the store and see how much these cost. I really don't want to spend that much if I could find a way to clean it out. And so here's the brake cylinder. I'll remove this from the bike and clean it out really well, and then see if there's any parts I need to replace. I'll try to get this hose off of here, take it up to the store with me, see if they got one just like it to replace it with. So let's see what size these are. I don't have my 10mm here. Nope. I'll be right back. Here's a little happy that I might not have to remove this where's that bleeder? I noticed a little bit of something leaking out of here, and I grabbed my, I just got the bleeder valve, got the wrench, and took it out, and when I did, it released a vacuum, and brake fluid started coming out. So it's really old and yucky looking. But if something's coming out, it means that it's not so clogged up in there. So I think before I go taking all this off, I'm gonna try to attempt to bleed them one more time. So let me put this banjo bolt back on here, and wait, I need a washer on this side, put it through, washer on this side, and screw it in. 9/16. So I was trying to do everything I could to not have to remove this. And I took the brake master cylinder back off and made sure that I had put it together right, made sure it was primed. I used one of my little pipettes for my airbrush stuff to prime I got fresh brake fluid, and I put it in the other side of the master cylinder until it was full. I pumped the piston until it went down. I added more, and I pumped the piston more, added more until it filled up to the top. Then I installed the brake hose with the banjo bolt on the top, and then brought it down here and tried to, got down and tried to bleed it again. Still nothing happened. And so I'm like, I'm sure this line is clogged up. But then I thought, you know what, I'm gonna just take off this hose here. I took off the brake hose from the caliper right here, and I took off the bleeder valve, and I just stuck the little pipette down in here just to see if there was anything clogged up in there. and it is pulling out a lot of muddy grime. And so I'm gonna have to remove this and clean it. Even if I tried to suck as much out of here as I could, it's still, you know, I could only imagine what the inside looks like if it's just mud. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take off this brake caliper and clean it out good, because there's some mud in there. So I better just quit messing around and go ahead and do that. Pick up all the little pieces I don't want to lose and grab, what is that? Bigger than a 10. And these, yeah. So that fits the 9/16. These probably 1/2 inch, we'll see. So I gotta loosen these two first, but not take them off. It's just because once I take those off, then it's gonna be really hard to try to loosen these without anything holding it in place. So we'll loosen these two and take this off, take it over to the table and see what we can do. So this ends up being a 12mm. And of course, these are two. I forgot to spray it last night. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put some lube on those. What was that, 5/8? No, 3/8. What'd I say it was? 9/16. I used the bigger ratchet. Thought I might have to break out the breaker bar, but I guess not. I got him. And some of these brake calipers, if they have the interlock brake, there'll be another wire going to it that you'll have to be cautious about. Yeah. I feel the brakes are moving, so they're not seized up in there, and they don't really look too bad. So let's go over here and see what we got. All right, so here is the brake caliper, and this is how it was on the bike. There's where the hose attaches, and there's where the bleeder valve is, and over here is the brake pads. And so we'll remove the caliper pin bolts so that we can remove the bracket and the pads. Yep, there's like spider webs in here. We will clean this out real good. That's the hardware there, and yeah, there is just, looks like something's been living in here. I mean, there's a little bit of rust in there, but I think I can clean it out. So we'll grab the air compressor to remove this piston. Be right back. Okay, I'm going to remove the piston using compressed air. I gotta be quick because the compressor is going to come back on soon, because I can hear a little air dripping out of here. So I'm going to replace the bleeder valve so the air won't just blow out that hole. And I'm gonna put the nozzle in here, and we will squeeze the trigger, and it should push this piston right out. So let me tighten this down, and I'm going to put a rag in here like this, and then I am going to face it down like this. There we go. That was good. Oh yeah, look at that gunk. That was like acting like glue, holding that, probably why it wasn't bleeding. So let's just get some brake cleaner and clean all that off. I'm not going to remove this booter seal because I don't want to have to replace it by another one. And so I'm just going to, I don't know if I can find another one, that's the thing. I'll ask at the store when I go to pick up the O-ring for the carburetor if they have the rebuild kit for the caliper. If they do, I'll buy one, but for now I'm just gonna clean this out real good and see if we can get it working. Before I go any farther, I'm going to go up to the store and get some brake parts cleaner, because I've been using carb cleaner, and I don't know if there's a difference, if it's gonna ruin some of these rubber parts, and I want to keep everything in the brake system as good as possible. I don't want anything swelling or corroding or whatever. And so I'm going to run up to the store. I'll get the brake cleaner, and since I know what this looks like, I'm going to take a measurement of that hose, the brake hose, ask if they have any of that in stock, if they have one of those in stock, and I'll bring a banjo bolt with me so we can make sure we get the right size. And I'll take a couple of pictures of it and bring that with me as well. So I'll be back in a couple hours, but to you it'll just be like that. And I am back. So that was a 60-mile round trip to pick up this one O-ring. That's for my carburetor, so I'll put that on sometime later. Right now, I need to finish with this brake caliper. I asked if they had a rebuild kit, and it's funny. It's like, it really seems this is a common part that a lot of people, I mean, it's just a little brake cylinder, but they're like, nope, discontinued, we don't have it, it's too old. But I did stop and I got some brake cleaner to clean these out with, and it says strongest, and then and then I got the other one because I wanted to see if I could tell a difference. This one says non-chlorinated, so I don't know if one of them is like gonna kill me with the fumes, or if this is gonna work like super good and this is not, or I don't know. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try them. I picked up some more brake fluid too, because I know I'm gonna use a lot of it trying to get this cleaned out. So let me go get some safety glasses on, and we'll get this caliper all cleaned out. And I got some phone numbers for, they had the seal and the boot discontinued, but a couple of stores still had it. One was in Texas and one was in Iowa. So I might have to call and order it. If I always have problems getting these straws in, I don't know why. There we go. But if I have to call them and order it, if I can't find it online or something, but I might not even worry about it. If I get this cleaned up, it might work just fine like it is. So let me grab my safety glasses. Be right back. Alright, so we'll just clean the piston, clean out this, spray it in both of these holes, and put it back together. Sprayed it with the brake cleaner, get any oil out of it. And yeah, this brake cleaner definitely has a smell. Ooh, but look at how good it cleans. We got them all cleaned up now, and just let them dry out for a little while, and I'll use some brake fluid to lube the cylinder so I could put it back in, and we'll put some brake lube on these pins here. We got these two caliper slide pins that we will put some caliper slide pin grease on them, some brake grease, brake lubricant it's called. We'll put some of this brake lubricant on these two caliper pins to help them slide a little better. Yeah, those look good. I mean, they've got lots of wear left. I mean, they look like brand new pads, and the little clip here to hold the pads, keep them from rattling around. I asked about that hose too, and they said that that was discontinued as well. I'm going to try to clean it out. I may have to take it out and soak it in that bucket with some brake cleaner to break up anything inside of that tube. It's really hard to get to because it has such a tiny hole, but we'll see what we can do after we put this back together. I'm gonna go ahead and put some brake lube on the cylinder too. That should help get it back in. That's how you do that. All right, now this is for all of you who are rebuilding your brakes and we're looking for a video on YouTube on how to put the caliper back together. After you take it apart, then there is the bracket, and if you notice, there is this little slot here, a little groove on both sides. And if you see the brake pads, they have this little hook right here. The caliper bracket sits down onto those little feet that are on the brake pads. And also, this little clip looks like this. The long edges go in toward the cylinder, so it snaps down there like that, and then the brake pads set on top of that. So you should put some brake lube on here so they can slide easily, and then you just set those down on there like that. See, it's kind of like a spring. And then you take your caliper bracket, put that down on top, and then install the bolts. And also on the bolts, let me show you, there's flat parts. And so these line up with this little bar here to keep it from spinning while you're screwing in your caliper pin bolt. And we can make sure that they're tightened all the way really good and tight once we install it back on the bike. So let's go over to the bike and put them back on. And also make sure after you tighten the bolts that the bracket slides freely. Well, I ran out of time last night working on the bike, and by the time that I got the video edited, it ended up being way too long, and so I had to cut it and make it into 2 videos. And the second part of the video, I'm not finished. I still haven't gotten the brake system working, so I cut it where it seemed appropriate, and we'll pick it up. Hopefully I'll be able to finish this today and get the video out of the brakes actually working. So I gotta get back to work at it, but I just thought I should get you a video out to let you see what I've been doing so far. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll just label the next part Part 2. So hopefully it won't be too confusing, and I'll see you later today, hopefully. Take care. Bye-bye.